following video contains graphic content that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
That ride was supposed to last 10 minutes. If I had my window rolled up, I would have passed out. I would have passed out and nobody would have been able to hear me.
Open the door. Open the door.
I just rang your doorbell because I have a couple questions for you. What? Are you sure?
And the family were able to stop this sexual assault by attacking the Uber driver. 58-year-old Ahmed Ali, an Uber driver accused of a heinous crime.
Where they're asking that the court find probable cause for rape in the second degree and kidnapping in the first degree.
Probable cause documents I obtained say Ali picked up a woman from a bar who was too intoxicated to get home herself. The victim relying on Ali's service as a rideshare driver to get back safely. Instead, documents say Ali used his Uber app to make it seem like he dropped the victim off, then drove here to this secluded location outside of Olympia and raped the victim.
She is fearful if he is released, or expressed that she would be fearful if he is released.
The probable cause documents say the family of the victim got worried when the woman did not return home. The father, using his phone, tracked his daughter's location to the scene of the assault and found the victim naked in the back seat of Ali's car, with Ali scrambling back to the front seat, trying to pull his pants up.
There is a substantial danger that the defendant will commit a new violent crime, and this is based on the nature of these allegations.
Documents say the victim's family beat up Ali, and at least 2 shots were fired. Investigators say Ali tried to flee the scene, despite medics saying he needed help. In court, Ali still had bandages on his hands. The suspect is a father himself of 5 children. The courtroom was packed with family and neighbors in support of Ali. Investigators say Ali's daughter actually reported her father missing to police on the day he's accused of raping someone else's child.
Friends and I were just like, we're going to get away. When I get to the airport, I start hearing the announcements speaking about human trafficking. Ubers stay at certain locations where they know people might be getting off a boat drunk, where it's easy, like hot girls are going to be there.
Right.
I'm telling the Uber driver, my window's not opening. I see him put it down like 40%. I see him click the button to child lock it. I'm literally saying I'm gonna throw up. I don't feel well from the boat. I drank. Like, please stop on the side. And he's like, no, mamacita. That was my cue of like, I'm jumping out of the fucking window. The gas station was the most petrifying feeling for an Uber driver who's human trafficking. I'm a liability right now. I have the ability to report him and like his life is over.
Right.
So me being out in the streets, out in a gas station doesn't make it more safe. Never in my life looked past like, oh my God, a male is driving me. Like, I wonder what he could do to me. And now, like, it's been a journey.
I don't get passengers that look like you very often. How old are you?
Oh, why do you ask? But thank you.
Oh, I just...
How old do I look?
Oh, young. Young. Very young. Just asking because I don't get passengers that look like you very often. Very young. Actually, you kind of remind me of someone I've seen online. Yes. Now that I think about it, you're that Jackpot World girl. Oh, yes.
Oh, like, on TikTok?
Yes, I've watched
that's really cool.
I've watched you so much. Wow.
I'm glad you appreciate the content.
Yes. So, if I download that game, I hear there's perks associated with it.
What do you mean?
Certain, I don't know, say we drive somewhere private. I'm just kidding. But, I mean, what do I get?
I don't like what you're saying right now at all. I actually feel really uncomfortable. Would you mind pulling over?
I'm just joking around with you. I mean,
Could you please pull over?
Oh, okay. Sure, honey. Maybe it's not under a bridge.
Okay.
Are you sure you want to get out right here?
Yes, please.
Courtney's from Afghanistan. What the fuck? She woke me up in the car. Where the fuck are we? So I called the cops. What the fuck?
I have a very important question for you. How much do you hate yourself? Going and saying that we are liars is a fucking joke. Why would I go lie about something so serious? Why would I call the cops in a fucking Uber and say that I'm being fucking trafficked? He would not pull over. He kept saying we're almost there. I was like, hey, we're supposed to be off exit 279. We were in the 300s, going the opposite direction of where we were supposed to be going. And he would not pull over. He was ignoring us when we said, please, I'm going to pee in your car if we don't stop for a bathroom. The Uber app got turned off. And he was on the phone with another man speaking in a different language, asking for our eye color, asking for our ethnicity, asking all these personal questions. And I get called a liar. But that's okay, because I know what's true and I don't need to convince you.
You want to see my proof of the Uber driver? Okay, this is my proof. It said that it was under a different person, which it was not even that guy. It was a totally different person. He went through and hacked Uber somehow. I don't know how. This is who our Uber was, and I'm gonna hide his information because this was clearly not the man. People are over here bent because I don't have fucking video for me in the fucking car, because the second I realized I was in danger, I wasn't worried about fucking filming. Why the fuck would I be filming when I should be fucking calling the police? It doesn't matter what happened that night. The fact that it happened and I'm trying to spread awareness to the women in Utah, and you guys are going and saying I'm a fucking liar. So why the fuck does it matter what I have to say? Because not everybody's gonna believe me. Not everybody's gonna be happy at the end of the day with the story I have to fucking share. So if you have something negative to say, just fucking block me. Block me.
I got into a fake Uber at 4:30 in the morning. His car pulls up. I was really drunk. I opened the door and I was like, for Alex? And he never said shit. So I was like, all right, I would. So I get in and we drive off. And I was like, I want to change the destination. I want to go home. I'm not going to meet my friend. He turns around and he goes, no. This guy was like Hungarian or something. Didn't speak English. Didn't talk very well. And he was like a big, tall, buff guy. And then I started sobering up really quick. He was supposed to turn this way. He started turning this way. I was like, I'm really, really scared. I'm going to jump out of the car if you don't stop right now. He turns around and he says no. That's the only word he knew was no. And I was like, oh, this. So he turns around and I thought he was like gonna grab me. So I jumped out of his car like 20 miles an hour and I fucking rolled on the floor really hard. I got a little hurt, but just there's so much adrenaline pumping through me like that I got up and I took off running. I could hear the car making a U-turn and he was getting faster and faster. It was like a horror movie, not knowing like if he was going to hit me with the car, because I didn't want to look back. You know what happens when you look back? You trip, you fall, they get you. All I heard was the engine the whole time, crying and screaming, like screaming for people to help me. Nobody heard me. It's like 4:30 in the morning. I went and I hid behind a big tree and I looked behind it and he slowed down and he just took off. I called my friend because she was right down the street. She came and she found me and picked me up and I reported it to the police and stuff. They were saying in Chino at the time that there's a lot of human trafficking going on. Like people are getting kidnapped. People just want to sell people across seas and stuff. A lot of people told me that that's probably what it was. I think the guy was just cruising alleys to see if there was females out or something. I don't know.
So guys, as I'm getting out the shower, I remember that I have a creepy Uber story time for y'all. Something that happened yesterday. Yesterday, I had to go to work and I was running late, so I called an Uber. It said a person named Leslie was supposed to pick me up, and I seen the picture and nothing seemed unusual about this guy. I mean, he did look kind of creepy, but I'm not gonna judge a book by its cover, you know. So he pulls up in front of my house. I check the license plate. I look at the guy. It's the same guy as the picture, the car model and everything. I swear nothing was off or nothing. And I got in the car. He speaks to me. Hi, how are you? All of that, right? Here's where it gets weird. So this guy pulled off. And then when he pulled off, he stopped at the corner. And I'm like, why is he stopping at the corner? And I wasn't really worried because it's literally the corner of my block. So I'm just like, if anything happens, I could just get out. But we were sitting at the corner of my block for like 2 minutes. So I started to wonder, like, why are we still sitting here? So I asked the guy, I'm like, sir, is everything okay? And he didn't say anything. So I'm just like, okay, that's weird. So I waited like another 30 seconds. I started hearing him breathing really heavily in the front driver's seat. So I'm like, what is he doing? Y'all, I peeked my head up to see what this man was doing. This man had his penis in his hand. In his hand. This guy was jerking off his penis while I was in the back seat of the car. He had a cup in his other hand to catch his children or whatever he was trying to do. And my first reaction was to get the hell out of that car. So when I opened the door, he was like, oh, no, ma'am. I was just peeing. For one, I know what the hell I saw. Two, why would you wait for me to get in the car to pull over and pull your shit out and pee while I'm in the back of the car? What sense does that make? Either way, you're done. So I did what anybody else would do, hopefully. I got out of the car and I reported him to Lyft, and I was on the phone with Lyft and everything. And I'm gonna show y'all his picture. This is what that man looks like. Looks kind of creepy, but like I said, I don't judge books by its covers. And yeah, his name on there is Leslie. Probably using somebody else's name, because to me that sounds like a girl name, but I'm not judging a book by its cover. Anyways, stay safe, ladies. Have a blessed day, everyone. Love y'all.
The Uber driver, serial killer. This one's gonna make you rethink getting in an Uber. Hi, I'm Meg. I talk about true crime, and if that's what you're into, go ahead and follow. Let's get into this case. The Uber driver in question was 52-year-old Jason Dalton. Now, this guy seemed pretty normal. He had a wife and 2 kids, one being 15 and one being 10 years old. He was known for being quite a nice guy, normal family man. But weeks before the incident happened, things shifted. People in his life described him as being maybe depressed, or he was just going through a rough time. Neighbors also later came forward saying that days leading up he was acting very paranoid. Previous colleagues that he had worked with at an insurance company also said that he was sometimes very easily angered and had a very bad temper. Now let's get into what Jason Dalton did. February 2016 in Kalamazoo, Michigan, Uber was just kind of getting started. Well, it was just starting to get popular, and it did not have the safety measures that it has today. Jason signed up to make some easy money. It was like a side job for him. He had good ratings and nothing really seemed off about him. That's until February 20th. Of 2016. Earlier that day, he went gun shopping with a friend and bought like a bulletproof vest and stuff like that. And things really took a turn at 4 p.m. He took off to pick up his first client named Matt. Now, Matt was just trying to get to a friend's house because he had left his car there. Matt gets in the front seat because Jason had his dog in the back seat, and they take off. Things seem normal. Jason gets a phone call from his son. He answers it on his Bluetooth. He then hangs up the phone. And out of nowhere, Jason hits the gas pedal. They're driving at 80 miles per hour at this point, and Jason wasn't stopping for any stop signs. He was going on side paths, not following any road signs whatsoever, and Matt, understandably, is freaking out. Matt is yelling at Jason at this point, like, this is good, I'll get out here, please just let me out. That's when Jason hit the brakes as hard as he could, so they like screeched, and Matt jumped out of the car. Matt then called the police, and they didn't really take it that seriously. That same day at 5:15, a girl called Macy calls for an Uber. Jason is the one who accepts it, and he goes to pick her up. Macy lived in an apartment complex, so Jason didn't find her right away. They were kind of like missing each other. He called her like super angry, like, where are you? And she was like, I'm here. And he angrily just like hung up the phone. And Jason was furious at this point. And a woman named Tiana, her kid, and a few of her kids' friends were walking to another friend's house. Altogether, they were a group of 6. They were also at that apartment complex. They were leaving it, and Jason stopped next to them, and he's like, Macy. And Tiana's like, no. He kept insisting that Tiana was Macy, and she was like, I'm not, like, please go. And so once again, he gets super angry and drives off. That's when he took a 180 turn and started beelining for the girls. But this time, he was holding a gun out of the window. He fired 14 shots. The girls were running everywhere, and Tiana was even using herself to shield the girls from bullets. Tiana was shot 4 times in her arm, leg, and back, but luckily, everyone survived. While speeding out, Jason actually collided with another car, which resulted in some damage on his car. The people in the car were fine, but now the police are getting multiple reports of people describing the same car. It was a silver Chevrolet Equinox. The police then decide to call Matt, the first guy, back, this time requesting more information from him, and he was able to send them his profile, which had his name and a picture of him on it. As this was happening, Jason called his wife, Carol, and asked her to meet him. He wanted to do a car swap with her. It was very strange when she met up with him because he gave her a gun and he was like, you and the kids don't leave the house. He then told her that he was going to do something, and he didn't say what, but he said, you'll figure it out when you watch the news tonight. If I was her, I'd be like, calling the police. I don't know, that was a bit suspicious. And so Jason is now driving a black Chevy, and the police are looking for the wrong car. At 10 p.m. later that night, Jason spots a family at a car dealership. He stops his car, gets out of it, and asks Tyler and Rich Smith what they're looking at. Before they could even process the question, he opened fired on them both, killing both the 17-year-old and the 53-year-old father and son. Only half an hour later, he commits another shooting, this time in the parking lot of a Cracker Barrel restaurant. He started open firing on 2 cars in the parking lot, and unfortunately, he killed 4 women. 60-year-old Mary, 62-year-old Mary Lou, 74-year-old Dorothy, and 68-year-old Barbara. A 14-year-old girl called Abby was also in these cars, and she got shot in the head. When the police originally found her, they thought that she was dead, but she wasn't. They drove her to the hospital, and she actually flatlined at the hospital, but she would end up surviving. Between all of these shootings, Jason was completing just regular Uber trips. Like literally picking people up, dropping them off, having small talk with them. And according to these customers, these lucky customers, he was acting completely normal, despite the fact that he had just shot and killed 6 people. Police were eventually able to connect the dots, and they realized that he had swapped cars. That's when they started pulling over all black Chevys. An officer eventually found him driving around and tailed his car and called for backup. A lot of cases like these, when people go on shooting rampages, it doesn't end well. Usually they shoot their way out. This is also referred to suicide by cop. But this was not what Jason did. Everything was pretty peaceful. He just surrendered himself. When questioning him about the whole ordeal, it took a while to actually get anything out of him. And when he did start talking, it was not what anybody would have expected. Jason claimed to have been possessed by the Uber app. A lot of people think he was putting on an act to try to seem insane so he would get an insanity plea. Yeah, Jason was saying that the moment he clicked on the Uber app, everything suddenly changed. The trial initially started in May of 2016, but apparently he was acting kind of crazy. Tiana, the woman he originally shot who survived, actually went on the stand to testify, but he was acting absolutely insane towards Tiana, which left her crying and left him to get dragged out of the courtroom. Just so you guys don't think I'm sounding insensitive, Jason had no history of mental illness at all. At this point, they stopped the trial so they could put Jason under psychological examination, which takes quite a few weeks. He was not found to be insane in the end. People thought that he was going to plead insane, but in the end, he actually didn't. He pled guilty. 16 charges later, He was given life in prison with no possibility of parole. It does make me wonder, though, like, what happened? Like, he was said to be a normal guy, and then suddenly he kills 6 people. Like, it makes you wonder what triggered this to happen. Also, just so you guys know, because I didn't mention this before, none of the victims were connected, so it wasn't anything personal. Anyways, let me know what you guys think of this case and what case you want me to cover next. This is our product of the day. It's just so good. Linked below, and it makes your eyebrows look good. I really do recommend it. Thanks for watching.
Hey y'all, today is March 27th, and I want to warn all Uber female drivers of what I just experienced this morning at 7:25 a.m. in the College Park area of Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. I had got an Uber request. It was $4.44. And when I pulled up this morning, and just to retract, I just actually picked up Uber in Atlanta, and this is my first time actually starting out Uber in the morning, or just starting out with a full day of Uber in Atlanta. And as I pulled up to the apartment complex, it was a little sketch. It was a white van, and the guy in the vehicle, he had a white mask on, like it was a thick white mask. And he pulled back out of the parking area space, and I just was like, the white van looks like something with the sex trafficking or like kidnapping. It was very sketch, and the area was very sketch. So then the guy that gets out of his house, he had on all blue. He had on all blue from head to toe. I mean, blue cap, blue mask, blue shirt, blue pants, everything blue, even a blue satchel or backpack, drawstring backpack. And I basically felt weird about him, but I was like, maybe he getting ready for work, because around that time people on their way to work, and it was like a 10-minute ride. So I was like, oh, this will be over before we know it. So as soon as he got in my car, I rolled my window down, and I said, something didn't sit right in my spirit. So I was like, oh, my auntie, she wants me to start wearing a mask, because she knows she's very big on COVID, even though it's the year 2024. So he was like, yeah, but I barely heard him. So as I'm driving into the ride, I put the window down. As I'm driving into the ride, he sprays this stuff in the back of my car. Keep in mind, y'all, I have this little tree, but this little tree scent, it doesn't work anymore. It ran out of its smell maybe like a week ago, and I just have it there. At this point, decorations. He sprays in my car. I said, "Did you just spray something in my car?" He said, no, I didn't. No, it was weird. And it immediately, as he sprayed that stuff in my car, I became lightheaded. My head started, I became dizzy. It was super strong. It smelled like disinfectant spray, but super strong. And I was like, what did you spray in my car? Immediately, I went into the mode of, as I was driving, the white van that pulled off, as soon as I pulled up, was in front of me, driving slow. I immediately zoomed past that white van, and I told that man, get the fuck out of my car. And as soon as I told him to get the fuck out of my car, he didn't give me no pushback. He got out of my car, and he walked over there. I don't know if it was to order another Uber or whatnot, but when I left him, I had shortness of breath. I felt super dizzy and lightheaded. I was driving in a direction, I don't know, I just got here in Atlanta. I didn't really know my surroundings like that. I do have family here, but I did not know my surroundings like that. That ride was supposed to last 10 minutes. If I had my window rolled up, I would have passed out. I would have passed out, and nobody would have been able to hear me. I just want to give God the praise, because that man did not have no good intentions. No good intentions at all. The way that I drove around that white van, you would think he'd be like, whoa, like, what are you doing? Or the moment I told him to get out of my van, and the moment I told him to get out of my van, he didn't even say nothing. He got out of my van. So, with that being said, since I left, and since I had left the premises, I went somewhere. I was so frantic. The way the Uber apps works, it's just ding, 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 ding. And like, it'll constantly keep going, So, I accepted another request thinking that, like, in my head, or like I'm playing with myself in my head, my mind. But no, as I was driving on the interstate, I became lightheaded and pulled over, and I started having a panic attack. I was on the phone with my mom and my dad. They told me to just get off the exit. And then I called 911. I told them where I was at. I just pulled into an apartment complex. They pulled in on me. The police didn't really run no report for real. The paramedics did show up. The paramedics asked me how I was feeling. Do I feel like going to the hospital? I wasn't in a space where I felt like I needed to go to the hospital because I wasn't like out cold or nothing. Like, I just felt like, what to do next. Like, can y'all check to see if I have any air tags in my car? Like what do I need to go about it? Because this man, he had no pure intentions. Like, I feel like this man was about to take me. What was supposed to happen didn't happen. He got out my car, and that's just what happened. So, I'm just warning all my black and brown girls, women in general, please be safe on that road with Uber. Be very cautious. Me personally, I'm not doing Uber with people in my car no more. Maybe Uber Eats, maybe, continue doing DoorDash. But it's very scary out here, and they are doing it in ways to where if you're not paying attention to your surroundings, you can easily get snatched up. And so I'm just putting this warning out there. I just want to thank God that I am safe. But please stay away from areas that, for one, you're not familiar with, and for two, College Park area past the airport is not a safe place. Okay.
Everybody loves money.
Pronounce your name.
How to pronounce my name? Samsara.
Sarah?
Samsara.
Yes, I'm Sarah, really. I tell true.
Sorry, what did you say?
I tell true. We'll go dinner one day. I pay.
It's okay. I'm fine.
Friday night.
Okay.
Just enjoy. You like enjoy? You teach me. I'll pay. And I find you. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Call my number.
Okay.
Number?
Yeah, the number's on the Uber thing.
Okay. Call me.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, one day we enjoy. Tonight.
Tonight, I can't. No.
Do you have number? Call me.
Okay. Yeah, I will do.
Just enjoy. It's okay. Live together, enjoy. It's okay.
I don't have a Australian number, so I can't text message. Yeah, because I'm not here for too long. I'm from London, so I have it on Uber, but so I'll get someone to text you for me.
Ready?
Yeah.
What's my number? How to contract next week?
I text people on Facebook Messenger.
Ready?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, ready next week. Saturday or Sunday? Sunday.
I have to check because I don't know. I'm meant to be leaving, so maybe not.
With your family?
With my grandmother. She lives here, and she's staying with me for the moment.
And me 3.
Sorry.
And me 3. Your grandmoms, you and me. Your grandmom's at home?
Yeah, she's at home.
Okay, I interrupt on you.
Sorry, what did you say?
I interrupt on, like, always enjoy. Okay.
That's a funny one.
You like funny one? Okay, nice meet you.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, I love you.
Talk to you soon. Bye. Oh my god. I didn't get it on video because it took a while because I was really shocked. But at the beginning of that, he said, do you like sex? I like sex. He asked me if I had a boyfriend and said he was always dropping off girlfriends to their boyfriends. And I was like, no, I don't have one. Thinking it was an innocent thing because he was like, I don't know, maybe like 3 times my senior. I'm 19. I'm just sitting here and editing everything, and Jesus, like,
You know, like, I don't even know what I was meant to do. Like, I've had some suggestive Uber moments, but nothing ever this bad. Like, it was so uncomfortable. I spoke to Uber about it. They offered me 3 free therapy sessions. I'm fine. There's worse things that have happened to me. I also want to clarify, I was wearing a hoodie and sweatpants. I had my hair up, wasn't wearing any makeup. You could barely see my face. You can't just say that sexual assault happens because we're dressed suggestively. It just happens because you're a female, and I think people need to accept that.
This is why it's so important that you get into the correct Uber. On March 29th, 2019, 21-year-old Samantha Josephson entered an Uber that she thought was hers, and she was never seen again. On this day, Samantha met with some friends at the Bird Dog Bar and left to go home at around 2 a.m. She ended up waiting alone in front of the bar for her Uber ride. And at 2:09, she's seen on surveillance entering this black Chevy Impala. Samantha's boyfriend, who lived in another state, was tracking her ride and noticed that the driver was going the opposite direction from her house. He tried to call her, but after getting no response, he fell asleep, and the next morning, Samantha's friends called him and asked him if he knew where she was because she never made it to work. They reported Samantha missing and asked to see surveillance footage from the bar and noticed that Samantha entered the car of 24-year-old Nathaniel Rowland. That night, Nathaniel locked his doors after Samantha entered his car, and he took her to a secluded area and stabbed her more than 100 times. He then went to an ATM and tried to withdraw money from her card twice. The next day, Nathaniel's car was spotted by a police officer. He was arrested and was eventually sentenced to life in prison.
Okay, something important I've learned in Miami since being here. 1, I showed up a little bit naive because I've lived in a small town for the last 6 years. 2, like, I'm not gonna give a specific stat, but a majority of the men here are fucking creepy. Excuse my language. I just ordered my Uber Eats. I said leave it at my door because I just don't really like people knowing where I live, and I was busy. And so not only does he not leave it at the door, he calls my phone, which is fine, whatever. I didn't answer. And he starts pounding at my door. Pa, 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 pa. I didn't answer because it scared the fuck out of me. Sorry, my language is bad because I'm a little heated. And then pop, 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 pop. The instructions say leave it at the door. He obviously has the right door. He knows it. Then, hang on. Sorry, I'm like straining my neck. I'm so annoyed. Okay, sorry. I also look like this, so like I just didn't feel like opening the door. Cleaning. Anyway, I opened the door, like cracked, and I put my head out. I'm like, and he like looked me up and down, like looks behind me, and I'm like, he's like, what's the code? And I tell him the code. And he's like, having problems. He's like, sorry. Now, mind you, he's already freaking late, super late, like 45 minutes late. He's like, sorry. And I was like, is there a problem? And he's just standing there, listens to a voice message in Spanish, whatever. I'm like, okay. So then he hands me my food and starts walking towards me, towards my door, looking behind me like this and stuff. And I'm like, ugh. And he's like, give me your Instagram. I was like, no, off, dude. And then the icing on the cake is that my food, it's not that good. Oh, why is there so many creeps in the world?
I had a scary Uber ride last night, and this is just kind of my PSA to all of the girlies and everyone out there to just be so aware and be so careful when you're out. So it was me and 3 friends. They were in the backseat, I was in the front. We get in, and our Uber driver is a man, and he's like being very quiet, like not looking at us. He's like very anxious and very awkward that we're in there. So I'm in the front seat, I'm watching, and he keeps missing the turns and is not going necessarily like out of the way, but instead of turning left, keeps going straight and is like just purposely not taking the way that Uber is suggesting. So that's like concerning me. So I keep watching and make sure we're going the right way. Then every time we're at a red light, he's like fidgeting with himself and like reaching down towards his pants and like his socks. And he's very like anxious, and you can just tell that the tension is very high with him. And I'm like, there are just red flags going off in my mind. I just had this gut feeling. Girls know it. Like, you just know when something's off. So I call my sister. I text her. I say, call me. So she calls me, and I start doing the script. Everybody knows the script of, hey, I'll be there in 5 minutes. And I'm giving her where we are. I'm telling her what street we're turning onto. I say out loud, you have my location, right? You're tracking me? Okay, cool. So you see where we are. We'll be there to your apartment in a couple minutes. Mind you, this is not my sister's apartment. She is 50 minutes away at home in bed. But she, like, we're doing the back and forth. I ask her, is your boyfriend going to be there? Eric's going to be there, right? Is he going to be in the driveway, or is he just going to unlock the door for us? So now he's thinking my location is being tracked, and there's a guy where we're being dropped off. My friends in the backseat don't know what's happening. So after I hang up and say, like, oh, we'll see you in a couple minutes, I text my friend and say, I'm getting bad vibes. So she shows the other girls in the backseat. So a couple minutes later then into this ride, my friend goes, oh, my boyfriend is going to meet us at the apartment too. They're getting a ride there. We'll be showing up at around the same time. So now we've got, like, now we're all creating this false narrative to make sure that if something were to happen, there was just a bad feeling. Like, now this person knows that people know we're going to be there. There's guys meeting us and people have our locations. And maybe it was like, maybe I'm over exaggerating. Maybe nothing was going to happen. Like, but the worst case scenario is that we don't get out of that Uber. Best case scenario, we just told a little lie. Like, be so careful. It is so scary being a girl. And like, just, there's so many things that can happen, and just trust your gut, because odds are you're right. And if you're wrong, at least you're safe.
Okay, so we all know not to get into a stranger's car, but I just want to reiterate, like, you need to know the license plate of your Uber when you get in it. And when you get in the car, you say, before you get in the car, you walk around, you check if that's a license plate, and then you say to them, who are you here for? Once they say, I'm here for you, Liv, you get in the car. You do not get in the car without asking them who they're there for and checking their license plate. I was just standing in the West Village. My Uber was across the street, and I was standing there, and a car pulled up, and they weren't hitting on me. Boys, I know you're going to say this. They weren't hitting on me. This four-door, like, sedan, metallic car pulls up and goes, hey, are you looking for your Uber or your taxi? Get in. And I looked at him, and I backed up immediately and said no. So please be careful and always check how you're getting in the car.
You're at the gym with me. She's an alcoholic. She drinks too much. But I was in the Air Force, and you can't leave a prisoner behind. So it's really hard for me to let her go, because if I did, she would commit suicide or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she lives with me. She's like my wife. I mean, we're like really close together. So I can't leave her. I don't want to leave her. But if you think what she does to me, I should have left her a long time ago. But I just won't quit on the woman. You gotta go. You going to a club or something?
I'm meeting my friends for dinner, and my boyfriend's meeting me there, so he had me Uber.
Thank you for being patient.
No worries.
Oh man, I'm sorry, people. We gotta go.
Please leave your message for 9098.
She's just right here at that apartment. She's got me kicked out of the apartment. She's got a restraining order on me. And we're still together. I don't know how we do this. She's a reckless person. But, you know, she brings the bad boy out of me. And I'm really not a bad boy. I'm a pal, but for some reason I like being a bad boy too. But all that means the bad boy is you make your own rules. But that's why I like being a truck driver. You make your own rules. But she's got to come. Where you guys eating at?
I actually don't even know what the place is called.
Really? We might have to eat down there with you. Because she wanted to go out and do something, so I'm...
Why are you guys sitting in the front seat in Ubers?
No, because a serious question has been posed. I've always wondered, like, how do people just hop into the front seat of an Uber, especially when you're alone, you know? And I always thought, that is just so uncomfortable for me. But I was reading that comment section, someone's like, it's for safety purposes. And here's my theory. I believe that you are safer at the back than you are in the front. Firstly, the front is congested. You only have one possible exit, whereas at the back there's two possible exits. And the thing is, yeah, sure, when you're in the front, you're in full view of what the driver's doing, so you know exactly what is going on. But in the back, I still think if you're sitting diagonally, you can still have view of what the driver's doing, and he won't be able to see what you are doing or how you are trying to respond in that situation. So guys, I fully believe that you're safer at the back. This front seat nonsense.
So lately, I've been seeing a lot of women share their really creepy Uber or Lyft experiences, so I thought I'd share mine too. This actually happened about a year ago, more or less. Anyway, it was really late and I was kind of close to home. I was about like a 5-minute drive from home. So I called my ride and he came, and of course I checked the license plate, got in the car, and depending on how I feel, I do make small talk. So what seemed like a casual conversation turned into him asking me more like personal questions. So like it went from how do you like living in the city to do you live alone? Again, this is like a 5-minute drive and we were like close to pulling up to my place. So I didn't feel like tucking and rolling just yet. Anyway, so I just tried to change the conversation and put it back on him. So I think I asked him, like, is he gonna drive the rest of the night, or like if he likes driving, something like that. I really don't remember. And this man goes somewhat off topic and says, I don't have to drive Lyft. I don't remember if it was Uber or Lyft, but he was like, I don't have to drive Lyft. So I'm obviously like, okay. He's like, yeah, I don't have to drive Lyft. I honestly do this to meet women and talk to women. I said, what? And he literally repeated himself too. He said, I don't do this for money. I do this to talk and meet women. I literally was like, say no more. I opened the door as he was driving. He was like pulling up to my place, so he was kind of driving slow. It wasn't like he was speeding or anything, but he was pulling up to my place driving slow, and I literally opened the car door while he was driving. I was so scared. I like ran inside. I didn't look back until like I got like close to the concierge. I was literally so freaking scared. I've never experienced something like that. And like once he said that, I took a look at him and I'm like, oh yeah, you do look very creepy. You do give those vibes, and not trying to be like that, but you very much give those vibes. So yeah, that was my scary experience with Uber driver or a Lyft driver. Yeah, so women and young ladies who do rideshare, please be careful. Carry some type of weapon if you can. Just be really careful and aware of your surroundings. Be ready to tuck and roll if you have to.
What are you doing? Please stop.
What you just saw were some of the final moments of Uber driver Christy Spicuzza's life. This is an extremely sad and horrific story. Christy Spicuzza was a mother from Pennsylvania who worked for Uber. She had a loving family, and on the night of February 10th, 2022, she was expecting to just work her normal shift on Uber. But on that tragic night, Christy picked up this man, Calvin Crew. Now, Christy had a dashcam video camera which was facing her and her passengers. And for the first 20 minutes or so of this ride, Calvin just sat in the back seat not saying anything, and Christy even tried to ask him questions like, did you have a good day? How's it going? But at one point, Calvin pulls out a pistol, places it against Christy's skull, and informs her that she needs to drive. Now, Christy would continue to drive, and she begged the man in the backseat for her life, talking about her amazing children and her family and how it doesn't have to go like this, but it seems like Calvin's mind was already decided. And just 2 days later, Christy's car and her dead body were found in a neighboring area. Calvin had forced Christy to drive out to an isolated wooded area and murdered her out in the woods. After the murder, Calvin had used Christy's cell phone to access some of her financial apps like Cash App and sent himself some money, but it wasn't even a very large sum of money that this man stole. Calvin's girlfriend, Tanaya Mullen, was actually the one who called the Uber for her boyfriend that night, and she had even texted him that evening and said, "I'm not going to jail if we get caught." Which is true because she never ended up going to jail or prison for her involvement in this horrifically sad crime. This is just such a tragic story that obviously did not need to happen, and that footage is some of the most horrifying that I've ever seen.
Imagine getting in an Uber alone at night when your driver tells you about a car crash on the usual route to your destination, so he has to take a different street to get there. But during the drive, you notice a piece of paper hanging on the back of his seat, with personal facts about him like his favorite movies and his hometown. Curious, you ask him about one of the movies on the list, but he doesn't seem to know anything about it. This makes you feel uneasy. So you ask him, "You're a Chicago native too?" Despite his list saying that his hometown is Phoenix, Arizona. And when he confirms that he's from Chicago, your stomach drops. Now you know he isn't who he says he is. So who is this man pretending to be your Uber driver, and where is he taking you? This short film is called Rideshare, and it's only about 4 minutes, but it managed to tell a scary story that felt complete. And it did make me feel a little paranoid about taking a rideshare alone at night. So definitely check out this short film and follow for more.
Hey, are you in the Uber yet? Okay, how far are you? I just shit my pants so bad. Yeah, no, like Mount Vesuvius just erupted out of my asshole and my pants were Pompeii. I need you here to help me clean it up. Okay, well, I at least need you here for moral support, so can you just send me your location so I know when you're gonna get here? Thank you, I'll be waiting. I'm literally covered in shit. Okay, yeah, text me. All right, see you soon. Bye.
I got abducted by a fake Uber once, so now every time I take an Uber, it makes people very nervous, like alone, whether I'm sober or I'm coming home from a night out. So I just had to Uber from LAX all the way back to my apartment, which I was in LA County, have to go to Orange County. That's like an hour drive. That's a bit of a ways away. And it was like 12 in the morning when I took this fucking Uber, and I took a Lyft instead because, again, I have trauma with Ubers. I mean, the guy that abducted me wasn't even an Uber. He was just pretending to be. Yeah, it's scary. It's real scary out here. I forgot I was supposed to text my mom when I got home and that I was like, okay. And the last text I sent her was that I got a fucking Lyft. And she was probably so scared. I woke up this morning to her calling me, leaving voicemails, texting me. I was like, oh my God, I'm such an asshole. I never texted my mom that I got back home. Normally she just checks my TikTok, so I guess I just like assumed that, but I forgot I blocked her because she started showing my dad my TikToks. Like, listen, he knows what I do on here. He does not want to or need to see it.
Hey girl, are you almost here? How far out would you say you are? Okay, cool. Yeah, he'll just meet you up at the front. Why don't I just go ahead and get your drink? What do you want? Water with lemon? Okay. She'd like a water with lemon, please. Thank you. Here, are you okay? You don't seem yourself. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, we can talk about it more when you get here. Hey, why don't you just drop me your location? Just text it to me. Yeah, send me your location so I know exactly when you get here. And then we can meet you up at the front. Sound good? Okay, girl. Okay, love you. See you soon. All right, bye.
Okay, so ladies, when you're getting into an Uber, it's very important to find the child lock and make sure that the lock is actually unlocked and not on the lock, because this is one of the fastest ways to get trafficked. So what I've noticed is a lot of women don't know where the child lock is or what it is. This is exactly what you want to look for when you're getting into a car, or it'll be on the side.
What you're about to hear was the worst night of my life. I went out to a downtown club with my boyfriend and his friends on a Saturday night. My boyfriend and I hadn't been getting along for a while, and at some point in the club, we had an argument. I didn't want to be there anymore, so I went outside and called an Uber to pick me up. It was raining that night, so I waited under the awning of a building nearby to the club. A white car pulled up in front of me and stopped. I walked over, and the woman driving rolled down the window. She said, "Uber?" And I said, "Yeah," and then her name. She said, "Yes." So I got in the back seat. I asked, "How are you?" I'm pretty sure she didn't answer. When I didn't hear a response to my question, I shot a glance up from my phone for a second. The woman had both hands firmly planted on the steering wheel. She was driving in a very stiff, upright position. She also had very curly hair and a somewhat darker skin complexion. She was driving down the street I usually took to get home, only she was going the opposite way. I didn't want to speak up and correct her just yet, because maybe she was taking a different route. The further we went away from my house, though, the more concerned and frustrated I got. Finally, I spoke up and told her she was going the wrong way. She said in a horrible, thick accent, something about how she was going to the highway instead. I knew for a fact the highway wasn't the quicker route, though. Then, my phone vibrated, and I looked down to see the notification from Uber. It said on my screen, "Meet Uber driver now." I opened up the app, and it said my Uber had just arrived at the point I was originally standing at, and that the car I was supposed to get in was a black Nissan. At this point, I started saying in a louder voice to the driver that she wasn't my Uber. I asked her to pull over and let me out. When she didn't seem to acknowledge me, I started to actually yell and push at her seat. Even though the car was moving, I even tried opening the door, but the child lock was apparently on. After a little more yelling, she finally looked at me through the mirror, then pulled off to the side. The door clicked unlocked, and I got out of the car and walked away from it. My actual Uber driver was calling me, and I picked up, apologizing, asking him to come to my current location. He said he'd be right over. 5 minutes later, the car pulled up. When I got in the car, I explained everything to him. He stopped the car, looked at me, and told me I just escaped a sex trafficking trap. There had been reports of multiple fake Ubers going around trying to trick unsuspecting victims into getting into the car to lure them to unknown locations. It was apparently part of a sex trafficking ring. The drivers were usually female to appear less intimidating to the female victims. I just want to stress to everyone to make sure the car you're getting into is actually your
Hey there. Whoa. Uber didn't tell me that I'm picking up a sexy escort. So you going to a party or what? I might have to join you with the way that you're looking. You really made my night. Seeing such a beautiful woman like you in that red dress makes me happy. Not so fast. Darling! Turn that shit off! Guess who's back from... I know that's not your prison boyfriend. That shit's not gonna work on me. Hey, so why don't you just put your number on my phone real quick? Come on, I'll give you free rides. Hey, you sure that you don't want to come sit up in the front? Why not? Come on, that'll be fun. I'm not a weirdo or anything. So how's the back of that car right there? Comfortable, right? You want me to join right before the party? Gosh, you are so fucking gorgeous. Can't wait to sniff that seat after you leave. I'm gonna give you a call later, alright? You don't have to give me your number. I got it through the Uber app.
2-sentence horror stories you guys wrote in the comments. Some of these ones are really good. These are some of my faves. Obviously, keep them coming down below. Add some more. As an Uber driver, I'm so glad my passengers listen to music in the car. Therefore, they can't hear the screaming for help in the trunk. This is why I always share my ride.
Hey, ma'am.
touch me. Seriously, don't.
Yeah, okay.
Can you close it? What is your problem?
No, I just wanted to say.
Oh my God.
Hey, back off, man. Back off. Back off. Back off. Back off. Right now.
The door. I'm gonna snap out. Oh my God.
Back up right now.
Alright, I just want to ask what's going on.
Back off.
I'm backing up. No, I'm good. Okay, good.
Get the hell away from my car.
Alright, well, I'm just asking her where she was going.
Back off. Get to your house.
Alright, good night, sir. Don't freak out.
Yeah, I'm gonna freak out because you're freaking her out. I'm responsible for her safety.
Sir, I'm so sorry. Can we please just go?
Oh my God. Oh my. Call Lauren. Call Lauren. Call Lauren. Call Lauren.
Shut up.
Let me make sure I still got my gun in here. My gun. My gun. Shoot, I could have sworn I had my knife.
If you're in Atlanta, ladies, listen up. Please listen up. Whether you drive, take any ride shares or whatever, please always be on alert. Please always just pay attention to your surroundings. I'm literally driving Lyft today, and I finished up tonight or whatever. My last ride was I picked up this lady and her 3 children, and before I pulled off, my mom had called just to check on me or whatever, and I was telling her this my last ride. After this ride, I'm going home or whatever. So we get on 166, we driving, and it's a truck get behind me with his lights shining real bright, really, really bright. So I was talking to her, and I was like, damn, why the hell he got these bright ass lights on me like that? I was like, he need to go around or whatever, because it was nobody else in that other lane or whatever. It was a car in front of me and him in the back of me or whatever. So as he got these bright ass lights on me, and if you're familiar with 166, eventually it breaks off until you can go to Lakewood, or you can go 75 and 85. So right before you can break off between Lakewood and 75, 85, the car in front of me brakes immediately, just stop on brakes. I literally had to swerve in the lane that you can go to Lakewood to keep from hearing him in the back or whatever. Next thing you know, this fool leans out the car. He had a red afro. He was like in a gold old Mazda or like a gold old Honda. He got a Moscow tool. He got that toolie on him or whatever. And hanging all out the car. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people? What the fuck is wrong with people? I literally just had to hit the gas, go around him and hit the fucking gas. The lady shook up. Her kids shook up. I was fucking shook up. Because we're literally just driving. I'm not speeding or anything. Just literally driving. And this happened. And Atlanta is big on trafficking. I don't know, was them two working together or what? But baby, I ain't get out my car or nothing. I got down, swerved around that goddamn car and hit the fucking gas. I just thank God that I was able to get the lady home and her children home safely, as well as myself. And I just want to thank God for that. And I just had to come on here and just to let y'all know that please be careful out here. People are out here, when men are out here pulling their tools that file on women and children. Just driving down the road, they trying to make you hit them from the back so you can get out your fucking car or whatever they trying to do. I don't know if they try to rob you or traffic you, but I went with none of it. I went around the goddamn car. I got to get back home to my child. And I thank God for that. So y'all be safe out here.
took. This is why you should always be careful when you're getting into an Uber. A girl who got picked up by her Uber driver noticed something strange about him as soon as he started to drive. After he confirmed the location with her, he started driving the wrong way. When she asked him where he was going, he ignored her and drove faster. So then she gets a notification from Uber saying that her driver had arrived. That's when she noticed that she had gotten into the wrong car.
Are you, ma'am? Ma'am, are you okay? So how's your day been? Does it not say on the... Are you an Uber driver?
This is the scariest Uber encounter I've ever seen. So basically, this lady was Ubering in her car with 6 seats. Well, a group of women ordered an Uber and she noticed that there were 7 women. Now, she told the group of women since there were 7 of them, she couldn't drive them because it was against the law and Uber's policy. This caused the women to argue with the Uber driver, and the women refused to leave her Uber. Now, the lady got tired of arguing and eventually drove the women to their destination. After arriving at their destination, the women got out of their car, and the Uber driver reminded them not to leave any belongings behind. This caused one of the women to throw a cup at the Uber driver's face, and the Uber driver threw it back. That's when the women started brutally attacking the Uber driver. And during the attack, one of the women broke their nails while hitting the Uber driver, which caused the woman to blame the Uber driver for breaking her nails, and they started hitting the Uber driver even harder. The women also kicked in and dented the passenger door. I couldn't find out if police ever found the women that did this.
So this happened to me the other day.
Have your name and info and all that?
No.
Here, can I just grab it?
Yeah, of
Come on,
course.
like,
Is the car not his? I mean, you can't really say.
it's under investigation right
Turns out that my Uber driver was a wanted criminal. If you want to know the full story, I did a story time on my YouTube channel. Click the link in my bio or type in Lindsay Ivan. My Uber driver was a wanted criminal. It's an insane story. Like, we got swarmed by police officers. I thought I was gonna be an accomplice. Go check it out now.
Ubers are so fucking dangerous, and not many people talk about it as much as they should. This was back in 2018. I took an Uber home. This is when I finally had moved out and I was living with my brother. It was late at night, and the Uber driver was kind of intrusive, asking me a lot of personal questions, but you know, I'm by myself. It's the middle of the night, and I'm like, sure, whatever, let's conversate. And the topic of me not being able to drive came up. I'm from New York, you know, you don't really need to drive. As long as you got an MTA bus or Uber fare, you good. I still don't know how to drive. And he got really offended by that. So offended that by the time we stopped and we were finally at my destination, he stopped the car, turned it off, and I'm just like, are you gonna open the door? And he's like, hey, I know where you live. Ha ha ha. And I'm just like, yeah, can you open the door? He is like, hey, come to the front seat. I need to teach you how to drive. And I am so fucking terrified. Mind you, I was only 21 years old. I'm really fucking young. And I'm scared shitless because I'm like, he's a guy, he's older, he clearly knows where I live, and he made a joke about it already. He turned off his app, his car, and we're sitting here in the nighttime in a neighborhood that I'm still new to where it's dead silent. So I'm just like, just go with it because you don't know what the fuck he can do. So I get in the front and he's trying to teach me all the ins and outs of driving. And I'm like, hey, like I gotta go, like my brother's waiting for me. And I'm like, oh, I think he's texting me. And he grabs my phone. He's like, yeah, nobody's texting you, girl. And then he tells me if anybody's gonna text you, is me. My phone didn't have a code at that time. And I know, fucking stupid of me. He opens my phone, literally just swipes it open, puts his phone number in, and then texts himself. And thank God he opened the door only because I was like, oh shit, my brother's coming down, which he was because we were having a barbecue that day. So he opens the door, I get out, and right as he drives off, I get a text from him. I don't respond. I get another text from him. Don't respond. And for the next several days, he kept texting me until it got creepy. He really texted me saying, am I gonna have to pull up to your house and teach you how to drive myself? Mind you, he told me that he was like a driving instructor or like I don't know, I think he helped out or either worked at a driving school at one point. But regardless to say, I'm not saying that he had any bad intentions. But I think there's a lot of men in this world who need to be more self-aware of putting women in certain situations which can be fucking terrifying. Little did he know probably that I was just scared for my life. Like, I just did what he said. I tried to play cool. I tried to stay calm. Because honestly, you never know what someone's capable of. He was bigger than me, older than me, a man. And clearly he was stronger than me too. And the fact that he knew where I lived scared the shit out of me. I should have gone further and reported him, but honestly, I was just afraid. So ladies, if you're ever in a situation like this, or even men, anyone, do better than I did and speak up and report these assholes. Because regardless of what his intention was, it was completely out of line and inappropriate. Ubers are so fucking dangerous, and not many people talk about it as much as they should. This was back in 2018.
Can I go home? I want to go fucking home. Do you not understand? Take me the fuck home and this piece of shit. Take me home.
Thank you for watching, Creepy Crew. Human trafficking is a grave issue that affects thousands of individuals every year, often through seemingly innocent avenues like rideshare services. Always stay vigilant and trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Protect yourself and others by reporting any suspicious activity. For more information or to get help, contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline. Be sure to join me on the next episode of the Creepy Collective. Until next time, stay vigilant and stay creepy.